happens is a deep state of relaxation. I would think that the brain goes into theta waves, so it's very relaxing. And while you're doing that, the central nervous system can down-regulate itself. Your nervous system can down-regulate itself, and any restrictions that are in the body tend to relax. Some of them let go. Some of them might need a bit of hands-on work, but they let go. And it's a really good way of just ensuring optimum health as well, because it helps with your immune system. If you were ill and did it a couple of times an hour, it's very helpful. So there is actually a CranioSacral teacher in the States called Michael Morgan, and he had several family members with dementia and Alzheimer's, and he took it upon himself to do some research in a couple of care homes with Alzheimer and dementia patients. And what they used was this still point inducer for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes every day. And what they found was the progression of Alzheimer's slowed way down. And he's done research on this, he's done reports on this. So it's a really simple thing to do. I recommend to clients to do it for 10-15 minutes before they go to sleep and have it by the bed. That's certainly where I have it. Have it by the bed, just take away your pillow, put it on. You probably fall asleep and then wake up and have to replace it with your pillow. Sometimes people do it lying on the floor, which is wonderful too. I've often used it that way. Sometimes you may fall asleep for 20, 30, 40 minutes on it and come back deeply refreshed. So it's a really good thing to do. And you can make this device with 2 tennis balls and a couple of socks.
So do you just lay there? You don't do anything?
You don't do anything. Yeah, just make sure you're comfortable, that you're warm, and that if you've got a lower back issue, that there's something underneath your knees. But you do it without a pillow.
Is there a pressure point? Sorry. Is there a time limit?
There's no time limit. You could do it for 5 minutes. It's recommended that you do it for 10 or 15 minutes. But sometimes people fall asleep. I mean, I've often fallen asleep on it for 40 minutes. It's a good thing to do at the end of the day, or if you've had a heavy day of lifting or heavy work, or you're stressed or something like that. It's a really good thing to do. And if you do it every day, it's even better for your brain.
So is it more like pressure as opposed to the thing itself? It's not like that's got an energy thing coming through.
Oh, there's no energy thing coming through.
So it's just touching parts, which is more like pressure points.
Exactly. It's not touching pressure points, but it's working with your your occipital bone to bring a still point into the ventricular, those fluid-filled sacs. So it's not working with pressure points. It's not working with your electromagnetic field or anything like that. If you want to, will I pass it around? I'll pass it around and you can have a feel of it. So I have information sheets on this, which will explain more about it, so that you can do it yourself at home if you feel so inclined. So I'll pass them around. You can pass them around.
I've made the tennis ball thing.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, I have about 3 of these in all the different rooms. Yeah. And I'm not OCD.
Interesting.
You might just try it, isn't it?
Have you heard of that before?
This sheet is the still point inducer information.
I'm sure I'll fall asleep. I'll fall asleep very easily.
I hope I now I have other information here.
I can take a photo.
I have another sheet of information here about different things you can research for yourselves around things.
I know the paper.
Around things I've already discussed.
I just thought of if there's a shortage, you see, or something. I can print that out and see later.
So I have another sheet of paper here that just has extra information on different kind of books, YouTube videos, articles, things like that you can research for yourself. So for example, on here I have a link to the website in the States that has lots of research papers. So, for example, if you suffered from ME and you wanted to find out would CranioSacral help with that, which it does, you could look it up. But there are also links to videos and books. And I also have a list of the schools in the UK of craniosacral therapy. So I don't have one for everyone, but I will forward it to Susie. Yeah, and you can send it on. Sure. But if people want to take a hard copy today, they're welcome to. If people are interested in the trauma aspect of what I was talking about, I wrote this article a couple of years ago, which has, I've just basically put together a lot of information about trauma and working with trauma. If people want to take one of these, you're welcome to it. And does anybody have any questions or?
Could you forward all of those to?
Okay, I'll forward on. Yes.
Only because we're such a big group, we won't all be on hand. I can take a photo of it, but
no, I'll forward them all. But you do have a sheet for the still pointed juice. You do have this sheet, do you?
I took a photo of it, so I've got it. Because I don't think there were quite enough down there.
Did everyone get a sheet?
There's one more here. We haven't got any.
Find a way to scan that and send it to
She's 88, I think. My stepmother's 91.
Oh, they're a good
And
age.
my father is
Yes, and that's the other thing.
You're here for a long time,
we have a rather, Richard, and we have a lot of long. You call me Roger because of Roger. Last time, a couple of times ago, I called you Christine.
We know who we mean. I told you we all had some dementia.
But yes, we have longevity. My grandmother lived to 106 months.
And I bet she had 16 children.
No, she didn't actually. She only had 3 sons. But some of the sons, there's a lot of grandchildren. One family had 5
Somebody just mentioned about ancestral trauma. That's something I just wanted to kind of put in there. That sometimes when people are experiencing things, now again, it's not always dramatic, okay? It's usually very quiet, very relaxed. But sometimes people have these memories that come up that are, yes, memories from their own life, or they can be transgenerational, they can be ancestral, they can be part of the collective unconscious. So things like, for example, I'm from Ireland, if anybody didn't guess, and in Ireland, what can happen, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. I wouldn't say it's very common, but it's close to being common. People, try not to be dramatic. People can sometimes have memories of being in the famine. Now, have they been in the famine? Has an ancestor been in the famine? Have they had a spiritual ancestor, meaning it was one of their past lives in the famine? Was it passed down through their body, or is it part of the collective unconscious memory? But they have the emotions and the feelings of what went on. Likewise, sometimes people have memories of being in concentration camps in Germany. They have no recollection or knowledge of having an ancestor who've been there. So where does that come from? And you can feel it in their tissues, they can feel it, and they're releasing it. So this is another kind of thing about this work. When we work on ourselves and we integrate those parts that get fragmented or split away, we are actually contributing to world peace. And Dr. John Upledger, who developed craniosacral therapy, the Upledger craniosacral therapy, he was named by Time magazine at one point as one of the top 100 people in the world who's made a difference to society or whatever. And he was asked, why did he do this? Why did he do this work? And he said, it's my contribution to world peace. I want world peace. And this is it exactly. The more we work and integrate those fragmented parts of ourselves, the more peace we have, but also the peace is already inside us. It's underneath all of that stuff. So the more we access that, we are making our own contributions to world peace, because we're accessing it in ourselves. Like those young offenders that you worked with, they have that, everybody has that as part of the birthright, but all of this trauma is sitting on top, all of these experiences and undigested parts and fragmented parts, they're all sitting on top of that, blocking or obscuring our connection with ourselves and our connection to our peace. So that's why, working with ancestral healing and all of that is very important as well. Go on and on.
Are you speaking as well, or is it just that you've got that and you've got the hands?
Am I speaking?
Are you speaking as well in the sessions?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I am speaking, but not all the time. Even though I'm speaking a lot now today. I'm holding your body. I'm evaluating your body where to work. Your body shows me where to work. Where it might flag up 3 or 4 places that feel restricted, or I might see a pattern in the body where there's a bit of a twist or something like that, or where one area is almost like separate from the body, kind of walled off. But one area will make itself known more than the others. It's like a flag, and that's where I have to start, because your inner wisdom has shown me where to start. I put a hand underneath your body, and I put a hand on top of your body where it's shown me where to start. And I just bring my depth perception or my blending, my melding into the tissues, and I wait and I listen. So it involves a lot of listening and being present. And your body shows me then by the fact that it might go into a still point, this still point inducer that really slows down your rhythm. Your body will go into that, at which point I might ask you, how are you doing? What are you feeling? Or what's going on between my hands? And one question can lead to another, but it's your body. It's not me contriving anything. It's not me. There's no set protocol as such. So I ask
questions. And then
questions.
what is it, releasing it then? So
yes, it's releasing it. So it's processing. Sometimes people feel aches and pains. As I say, sometimes, on the rare occasion, their body may actually go into the position that they sustained a trauma. So, for example, if they had a bad fall, their body might, it may physically do this, or it may subtly do that. And they'll feel themselves doing that, or they'll say, oh, my body feels like it wants to, my leg wants to go out to the side, that type of thing.
So it doesn't really matter that you don't know about the ancestral trauma or anything you're carrying?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as well as that, you're working with all belief systems.
Yeah.
All belief systems. So if you believe in past lives, fine. But sometimes people come in and they have what seems to be a past life, and they say, but I don't really believe in past lives. Why am I? We just trust it. We just say, just trust it. Just trust what's happening. So for example, that image of the concentration camps in Auschwitz and things like that, well, we don't know if it's Auschwitz or not. So the person might have all the visuals, all the feelings and all the emotions, and say, well, I don't believe in past lives. It doesn't matter, it's to follow what's going on in the body.
Have you noticed any correlation between when the body is more receptive to the healing, or is there any relationship with it?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I could say lots of different contradictory things about it. So sometimes people come in and they've never had a session before, or they've never had any body work, and straight away they're into a piece of work. Other people come in and they've been doing lots of work, and it can take them a few sessions to get in. Or sometimes people come in and you know that they've been actively working on themselves for years, and they go straight into a piece of work and they're navigating it all. Sometimes people come in and they want to work with something specific and something else comes up. That's kind of more often the case, actually. Or sometimes people come in because they have a damaged shoulder or a damaged arm, and lo and behold, other stuff comes up. There's more I can talk about that, just bear with me. Sometimes people come in and they just sleep through all the sessions, or they find them deeply relaxing and nothing perceptibly comes up, as in there aren't emotions, or there aren't this, or there aren't that. But they'll say that in between the sessions they had weird dreams, or they were emotional, or they felt low, or they felt that they'd loads of energy. But what I do notice is that over time, it doesn't matter on one level, because it's their inner wisdom getting what they need. So even if they don't have belief systems around anything and they come for treatments and they're just relaxing, they notice a shift. Even if their life doesn't completely, radically take off in a new direction, they are able to navigate their life better, or manage things better, or feel better in themselves about things. I don't know, does that answer it or not?
It does, yeah. Thank you for that. I'm just thinking, because you mentioned the sort of spiritual dimension of the pituitary and the pineal.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of sort of esoteric research, should I say, on there's 2 or 3 days when they're producing this high quality fluid.
Yes.
And that then goes
Circular, yes.
circular. And do you work with that, or do you notice that? Or?
So, yes and no. What I mean by that is no, not consciously. So when we go into a session with somebody, we have to be very impartial. And they call it neutrality, which means that I have to park my agendas and anything else and just listen to the body. So it's wherever the body brings me. So somebody might come with an agenda, I really want to work on this, and the body might have a completely, or the psyche may have a completely different.
Yeah, that's what I'm really asking about. When the body-mind,
Yes.
or the brain in the body is in alignment with the spirit,
Yes.
and there's a cycle that's related to the pineal pituitary.
Yes, and actually I'm glad you brought it up, because on the sheet of paper, I think it's the last thing I put on it, there's a link to a 13-minute video about just what you said there.
Right.
So you've probably already seen it yourself. But
No, I haven't seen it, but I'm curious about it, because it's the land of,
So our kind of approach is that we're holding the space. We're holding the body.
How many sessions?
Good question. So that varies. Pardon?
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different, but and everybody asks the same question when they come in for a session. So what I tend to say to people is, if you're coming in with something structural, so for example, you're coming in with a sore shoulder or hip or something like that, I say have 3 before you decide if you want to continue or not. But often what happens is people have more than 3 because they're getting relief. If somebody, so when I worked in Cork in Ireland, I had a number of psychotherapists who would refer to me because they understood this connection between the mind, the body and the spirit, and mental health and all of that. So if it was somebody who was working through their issues and who was working with a counsellor, I'd say once a month is appropriate if you're working with a counsellor through something like that. But it does vary. I often just say to somebody, try 3 to see if it's for you or not. And then it's up to you if you want to keep coming or not. Sometimes people come for several weeks, and then I don't see them for a couple of years, or a few years, maybe even 10 years, and they come back when something happens.
But that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll come back a long time.
So the thing that kind of I find very intriguing is that sometimes people will come with something specific, and then they'll come back maybe months later saying they had something else happen, but they went elsewhere because they think that CranioSacral therapy is just for backs, or CranioSacral therapy is just for working through your issues, or they believe it as just being this, when actually it's broad spectrum. So thank you. Any other questions?
If you've got somebody that's not particularly open-minded,
Yes.
probably won't come to you anyway.
Probably.
But if they did come to you but because they've been kind of with their back to come
Yeah,
to you,
it happens.
would that affect the treatment?
Well, for me it wouldn't. For them it might. I'm used to that because that happens more frequently than you'd think. Or sometimes people come as a last resort because they've done all the other routes, and they come sceptical. Even though they come of their own volition, they come sceptical.
I've got a friend who's in Texas and she does CranioSacral
Oh,
therapy.
great! Yeah.
And my daughter suffers badly with endometriosis, and she said, "Oh, try the CranioSacral therapy." But I kind of read a little bit, and I just thought, I don't think my daughter would go for this. But that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah. So when coming back to the endometriosis, when I worked in Ireland, I worked alongside 2 medical herbalists, and medical herbalism is brilliant for endometriosis as well. If she doesn't feel, some people don't want the hands-on. I totally get that. It's not appropriate for everybody. It's not like one size fits all. CranioSacral is very multidimensional, and most people experience something. Some people are a bit more cynical than others, and that's fine. A bit of healthy cynicism is actually very good, and it doesn't bother me at all.
Are you clothed for the treatment?
Absolutely, good question. You're fully clothed, you're lying on a couch with a pillow under your head and a pillow under your knees, and I ask you to bring a blanket. All you remove is your socks, your belt, and your glasses. And if you're wearing a Fitbit, personally, I prefer if you'd remove it, but that's if you want to keep it on. A Fitbit. Yeah.
Where are you based? Where are you based?
So I'm based in Back in Action in Sandal and Wayfield, and I'm also based in the Bridge House Clinic in Sheckley in Huddersfield.